Hey you guys, so I don't know what I want to film yet today, so I'm just going to quickly tweet out and see what you guys kind of have to say and what you guys want to see. Okay, I'm getting a lot of requests for spring makeup. Who is Zayn? Who the fuck is Zayn? Oh god, I'm getting into a Twitter fight. Oh god, apparently it's a One Direction thing. Everyone is tripping. I was in the wrong, apparently, because I didn't know the affairs of One Direction. I'm pretty sure that I thought One Direction was the Backstreet Boys for a solid 2 years, making a comeback. And I am now learning the error of my ways. Everyone's mad at me. Anyway, I'm thinking let's do a cream contour video. I got the cream contour kits from Anastasia lately, or recently I guess is a better way to word that. Anyways, so let's do that. Okay, so first of all, when you're going to be doing cream contouring, it can feel quite a bit heavier on the skin than powder probably would. So first and foremost, I recommend just washing your face, exfoliating, making sure that you have no kind of flakiness or dry skin, and then moisturizing like a motherfucker. After that, I normally apply foundation in kind of a thin layer and my concealer if I want to. Again, just in a thin layer, and making sure to use a beauty blender or sponge or whatever to just kind of, you know, get rid of that excess product that you don't need. So from there, I typically apply my highlight first instead of applying my highlight and my contour at the same time, which I know a lot of people on Instagram typically show that when they're working on clients or whatever. I feel like that is a way harder way to do it, and it's not as simplified or easy to do, so this is just what I do, and yeah, I'll walk you guys through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my I'm just going to take these two shades and mix them together and put them on my face. So just going to dip into those quickly, and I'm using kind of like a larger concealer brush for this, and then I'm going to get a mirror. And I'm basically just going to apply that underneath my eyes and on top of my cheekbones in kind of, you know, the typical V shape. So I'm just going to apply that there. I don't want to bring it down too far because I just don't really like the look of that. So I'm just going to keep it up a little bit higher just to kind of lift the cheekbones a little bit more. And then I'm also going to apply this in the center of my chin and then right under the cheekbones. Just kind of applying it in a sharp line and dragging it downwards. And then I'm just going to take the very tip of the brush and apply it down the center of my nose, kind of extending right between the brows and up to the forehead. And of course, this doesn't have to be applied perfectly right now, like you're not too worried about what's going on. Just have an even amount of product because we're going to be blending this out, so yeah. Make sure your cheekbones are even. We don't want you looking crazy. So this is basically what it looks like right now. A lot of people like to use beauty blenders, but I'm going to be using a kind of big buffing brush for this that's a little bit smaller than a foundation brush would be per se. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be using. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pat more so than swipe it. When you pat the kind of product in, it helps to blend it out, but it doesn't move the product around from where you just placed it because you're using the specific placement, so you don't want to kind of then be like wiping it down all over your cheek, which is getting rid of those shapes that you just went in and created. So I'm just basically patting it on to blend it out, and then if you feel like you have a little bit of excess product that you do want to get rid of on the edges, you can then go in with your sponge and kind of just pick that up. The thing that I like about the Anastasia contour kit is that it doesn't feel super thick on your skin. It just kind of feels like a super thin layer, and it also goes nicely over top of foundation and concealer so that you can go in, conceal, do your foundation, everything like that, and then apply your contour and highlight over top as like thick or thin as you want it to be. Some cream contours don't go that great over foundations, and they make it so that you basically have to use so much cream contour that you're using it as a foundation as well, which just starts to feel really gross and not fun. So yeah. The other thing that's nice about these being able to go over foundations and stuff like that is that if you feel like you're wanting a more kind of like natural look, you could kind of just highlight or just contour, like not necessarily go in with, you know, the two different shades, just if you're looking for something a little bit more natural. If you guys don't have access to these palettes for whatever reason, or maybe you just don't have the budget for it or whatever it may be, you can use foundations, like you can use liquid foundations, cream foundations, and stuff like that. Typically for more natural highlighting and contouring, you want to do kind of like 2 to 3 shades lighter for highlight, 2 to 3 shades darker for contour than your natural skin tone. So that is how my skin looks with the highlight blended out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and apply the contour. So I'm just gonna take a slightly smaller concealer brush for this, just like an average size concealer brush. And I'm gonna grab the darkest shade from the palette, which is right here. If you want a little bit more of a natural color, or if you have like a bit fairer skin, you can kind of go for that shade, so it's not so intense. Camping's intense. So I'm just applying it first on the sides of my temple, and then once I kind of have less product on my brush, I'm moving towards the top of my forehead. And then I'm going to apply right under the cheekbones, and this is something where I find that a lot of people tend to bring it down super low. If you're not quite sure where to place it, just literally feel your face, see where your cheekbones are, and then you want to apply it kind of right on top it or right underneath it. If you apply this line too low, it's going to make your face look a little bit more sallow or like masculine. So I mean, depending on what you're going for, totally go hard, but typically you would want to have it a little bit higher up. And I'm just going to kind of start to flick that line upwards. And I don't like to bring this line down too low. I know there's a lot of contour maps that bring it down right to the mouth, but I think that that looks pretty intense, and personally I don't like it, but again, whatever you into, girl. So I'm just gonna take a slightly lighter shade to contour my nose. I don't really like contouring my nose, but I'm gonna do it today. So I'm just going down the sides and keeping it a pretty thin line, and then at the bottom here, and then you're just gonna kind of bring it up into the brow bone there once you have less product on your brush, same thing as we did up here. And then some people like to apply it along their jawline, but I typically don't do that. This is pretty much as far as I go in terms of contouring. So now what I'm gonna do, same thing, is I'm just going to take my little brush that I used earlier, and I'm gonna kind of use more of a sweeping movement for that. But I have my movements really controlled. Like I'm not like, you know, working it in there. I'm just basically keeping them controlled movements and blending more upwards than anything. Again, you don't want to blend that downwards because that's not going to help to lift the cheekbone at all. So basically blending upwards in kind of circular movements just to start to blend that in a little bit. And then just using my little beauty blender to buff out any harsh edges there. And I'm just gonna blend that right into my hairline because I don't want it to look like I kind of have this weird halo effect going on. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of a smaller brush to blend out this nose contour. And this is where you're gonna wanna have really kind of controlled movements. We're just blending out the edges of this, but it's important to have that kind of nose contour really blended properly because otherwise it's gonna look really crazy really fast. So I'm just picking up my excess product there. I definitely prefer to use a little bit of a cooler contour color than this for my nose, just because it mimics natural shadow a lot better than the warm tones will. So the thing that's kind of nice about cream contour is that depending on what kind of shape you use and what colors you use, like if they're not super dramatically way darker than your skin tone kind of thing, it can end up looking quite a bit more natural than a powder highlight would and a lot less harsh. It's just a really, really pretty finish, and again, it's dewy, so I'm about that life. So you can just apply your translucent setting powder after you apply your blush and whatever else you want, or you can go over this with a cream, or you can go over this with a powder contour as well if you do want kind of more of an intense look, and you can do that to set it as well. So what are you gonna do today, Samantha? That's the question that I'm asking. I'm gonna go over this with a powder contour just to show you guys how I would do that. So I'm going to be using my Anastasia powder contour kit, and I'm going to be mixing these two shades here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and apply those basically exactly, not basically exactly, just exactly where we applied our cream contour. So right underneath the eyes. I'm just taking a smaller brush to do down my nose here. Everyone is really seemingly upset about this Zane? What the fuck? Zane. Ooh. So I'm really sorry that you are all going through a hard time. For those of you that listen to One Direction. So I've just applied that in the exact same spots where I applied my cream contour, and now I'm going to mix these two shades here and basically just go over the contour spots. So I'm taking my NARS Ita brush and I'm using it kind of vertically, and I'm just lightly going over that cream contour. And then I'll sometimes take my foundation brush and just kind of make that a little bit softer. Notice how I said sometimes I just leave it because why the fuck not? And I'm just using the powder contour around the temples, not on the forehead, because I don't really like a ton of shading on the forehead. Don't know why, it's just how I am. And that's pretty much it. From here, I will usually apply a shit ton of shimmery highlight and a lot of blush, and then I will go forth from there, generally speaking. So I guess I may as well do that on camera. Hold up. So I'm just gonna be using my little Chanel highlighter. This is from the holiday collection, I believe, and it is limited edition. It is called something in French. So I'm just gonna take my little Real Techniques brush and apply that right to the tops of the cheekbones. Just kind of blending that into the skin, and this just has a really majestic look. It's just so wonderful and beautiful, and I'm gonna put the whole thing onto my face. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and apply my blush from Becca in the color Wild Honey. A lot of you guys have been asking what I'm planning to use once I run out of Kat Von D Wish since it's discontinued. Thanks again for that one, Sephora. And I love the Becca blushes. This one is gorgeous, and the one called Damselfly is also gorgeous. I just love blush. So I'm just taking a little bit of that and applying it right to the apples of my cheeks, and just kind of blending it into that powder contour. So there you have it. You guys can also use contouring and stuff like that for like your cleavage or your collarbones, like literally pretty much anywhere. Fuck it, I'll just show you guys. Well, this is getting interesting. So basically I'm gonna go in with my cream contour in the lightest shades, and I'm just mixing the same two like I did. I grab a mirror here. And basically what I'm gonna do is I'm going to apply this to the tops of my collarbone. You can also kind of apply it right here, and then, sorry guys, and then just kind of right to the center of the tataz. And then same thing, I'm just gonna go ahead and take my trusty little blending brush here, and I'm just going to kind of start to blend out that highlight. Sorry guys, sorry. This is so difficult to do on camera, wow. I never thought I'd see the day. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take the darker shades and grab a mirror and just apply those right underneath and on top. Obviously, you probably wouldn't do this every day unless you're freaky, but it looks really cool in photos or like when you're going out and stuff like that. And then I'm just basically going to apply the darker color around the tataz, making sure they're even. You don't want to look like you have a botched boob job or anything like that. Again, just kind of blending that out. This is way easier to do in a larger mirror. And you can kind of blend that one down a little bit. I'm sweating like a madman right now. And then just basically blending that out. You want this to be really blended, like you do not want any harsh lines being like, oh hey, I tried to contour my tataz and it didn't work out for me, so now I have these crazy lines. That's not what you want people to think about you. Although, who really gives a fuck what people think about you? That's what I always say. And then what you can do is you can also take a little bit of your highlight shade and basically just kind of bring it right oh shit, fuck, I actually went into the contour. Whoops. Bring it right between, like this. And again, blending that out. Oh yeah, it's way easier when I look into the camera, hell yeah. So yeah, and then basically you have your super intense collarbones and titties. So there you have it. You can set that with a translucent setting powder or like, you know, sparkly fairy dust if you're freaky. So that is everything, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something cool today. I learned that tweeting about One Direction in an offensive way is an effective way to have death threats sent to you. So there you go. I will see you guys next time. Let me know what you guys want to see next in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching. Bye.